And a customer came in. And the customer came in to order some cornhole boards. The customer was different. The customer was unique. And it caused a lot of emotions to just begin to flood through my mind when I met this customer. I instantly became very focused, and I was shocked, and I was compassionate. But most of all, I was curious, because I wanted to hear the story behind the person. And as I met Billy Jack McDaniel, he stayed for almost an hour, and we stood there and we talked. I believe Dallas was with you that day. And we stood there and we talked, and we found out that we had something very special in common. We had the same father in common. And so at that time, I had no idea that a couple months later he would be speaking to you, but because of some things that God did, God gave me an opportunity to call him and see if he would be able to speak to you guys. So with the utmost respect, I ask that you would give your attention tonight to our special guest speaker, Billy Jack McDaniel. And I think that you, after hearing his story, will see that things are not always the way they seem to be. So, big hand for Billy Jack McDaniel.
What's up? Man, y'all are a big crowd. Kind of nervous. Let's start off with the obvious. I look different. Okay. I can't change it. We put a lot of focus on how we look. A lot of focus on what other people think we look like. Put a lot of focus on our abilities. And we pick on people that can't do what we can do. Right? Right? Okay. This is a quarter. Okay? I need one person. So, come here. Before I get started with my story, I want to make something very clear. Okay. You look different than I do, right? Sure. Okay. You can run, you can jump, I can run, I can jump, I can talk, you can talk. Can you pick that quarter up? Now, I can't do that, so does that give you the right to pick on me? I simply can't do that. Something that simple, I can't do. So as you are in school and as you're going through life and you see somebody that can't do what you can do, doesn't make you better than them. Could make you a team. So think about it like that before you make fun of somebody, or you look at somebody in a different light, or you look at somebody in a different way just because they can't do what you can do. They may be able to add to what you can do and make it better. Okay? First of all, I was burned. I worked in the oil field. We drill for natural gas, we drill for oil, and I work derricks, which is about 180 foot in the air. Some rigs are 150, 160. Personally, I was about 158, 160 foot in the air. And I was working one night, and you see on TV these big explosions. You ever seen a torch? Okay. They said I was on a force or a blast the size of 3 or 4 F-16 jets, fighter jets. Their engines is what I was sitting on top of. They estimated I was in between 21 and 2,600 degrees. Aluminum melts at about 1,800. And I never lost consciousness. I remember every bit of it. How many has ever burnt their finger? Didn't take you long to let go of whatever was hot, did it?
Yeah.
You grabbed something and you let go of it. I couldn't let go. And I saw things. All of us, especially us guys, we want to think we're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. It's just the way guys are. We want to be tough, we want to be strong. I realized March 3rd, 2006, I wasn't nearly as tall as I thought I was and not nearly as strong. I watched as my skin dripped off. Wasn't nothing I could do about it. At one point, I accepted death. Y'all ever known anybody that has just accepted it? It's coming, there's nothing I can do about it. Dying was actually better than living at one point. I know that's hard to think about, but it is. But when I got hurt, they flew me to Shreveport, Louisiana, and I went in the burn unit. And I'm burned 95% of my body over 3rd degree. I'm literally burnt from my ankles to my forehead and everywhere in between. They gave me a 128% chance to die. And I tell people, if you can explain it by science, you can explain it by medical reasoning, I'll listen. But I've had the best in the world look at me and say your eyeballs should have melted. Your lungs should have melted. The little membrane that separates your nostrils should have melted. Why, we don't know. Why they didn't, we don't know. And miracles, in the way I was taught, miracles can only come from one place. And that's God. He performs miracles. He still performs miracles. People tell me all the time that I'm a miracle. I don't see myself as that. I don't leave my house every day and say, I'm going to go inspire somebody today. I just try to live. I have a life to live just like you do. I have a child, I have a wife, I have friends. I drive a truck, I drive a tractor. I do all the things that you can do, almost. When I had to go through my rehab, and I was in the hospital, and I had made a choice. And that's kind of what I want to talk to y'all about tonight, is choices. I had made a choice to give up. I looked at myself for the first time in a mirror about that big around, and what I saw looking back at me was worse than you can ever see in a horror film. It was not human. And I made the choice that day to quit. Just give up. I bet everybody in here can say that they felt like quitting today. Something happened today that you said, I don't want to do it no more. It's a choice. This is why you surround yourself with the proper people, the right kind of people. My wife, right there. They told me in the hospital, she's gonna leave you. I begged her to leave many times. But when she stood in front of that preacher in 1997, and she said, I do, She meant it. It's a choice. It would have been easier to quit. Would have been easier to walk away. But she didn't. I heard somebody say, who's getting on the softball team? Who was that today? Hey, you. You're going to say, I don't want to run. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's your choice. But if you do those things, is it going to make you a better softball player? Think about it. If you don't do those things, you're not just hurting yourself, but you're hurting everybody on that team. So, surround yourself. Make the choices to surround yourself with the people that can support you, motivate you, encourage you. When I first looked at myself, my daughter is sitting right there, her name's Courtney, and she got a friend here named Ashley. She's from Mississippi after her dad, Mr. Joe. And when I first looked at myself, I just quit. I gave up, you know. And it took my child, 6 years old, to make me feel like a little bitty, about that tall. I reached over and grabbed her hand one day as we was coloring. And I was having to use those big colors, you know, because I couldn't color and stay in the lines. I got a challenge for y'all. Whatever hand you write with, raise it up. Okay. Tonight, when you go home and you go to the bathroom, use your opposite hand. You can't catch yourself in the bathroom to use your opposite hand. I had to learn how to do that. My nerve was burning too right here. They said it would never grow back. I couldn't move this hand. Well, it not only did it grow back, but it reattached itself. But I still had to learn how to do everything on my left hand. You know them little round English peas? I think they pick them out to send to people that are in rehab in the hospital. Try to hold those on a fork with your other hand. After about 3, you're done. I'm not eating no more. I mean, oh, it was bad. But I couldn't quit, you know. I had to keep going. Had to keep pushing myself. Had to eat. Wasn't never going to get to go home if I didn't eat. So I had to learn how to do that. Every aspect of my life I had to relearn how to do. Still learn how to do. I'm still learning how to do things. The simple things. How many of you remember learning how to walk? None of you.
I do.
How many of you remember learning how to run? None of you. How many of you remember learning how to crawl? None of you. I had to remember, I had to learn how to walk. Had to learn how to feed myself. Had to learn how to write. I had to relearn everything at the age of 29 years old. Things that you don't ever think about doing, I have to think about. When I got home, it was bad. Dressing changes. How many of you have ever heard about a dress? How they do burn people's skin? Okay. Well, let me tell you how they do it now. They take wet Kerlix. Y'all know what that is? Like gauze?
Yeah.
Okay. They wet it and they roll you up in it. Then they take dry and roll you up. Then they take an ace bandage and roll you up again. When that wet Kerlix dries, it grabs hold to what needs to come off. The next morning, they peel it off of you just like peeling an orange. And it hurts. It hurts bad. Many of you ever had what's called a strawberry on your leg or your knee? What happens whenever you sit in the bathtub. What happens?
Burns.
Imagine that all over your body at one time. Every morning I had to go through that. Every morning. And I made the choice to quit many, many times, guys. If I had not had my wife and my child and other people that wanted to see me succeed, I wouldn't be standing here today. I know y'all hear that all the time. Don't hang around with this guy, don't hang around that girl because they're trouble, don't hang around with this, don't hang around with that. There's something to that, believe it or not. Because if they don't care if you go to jail, and you don't care if you go to jail, what's going to happen?
You're gonna go to jail.
You're going to jail. If you're thinking about trying something and somebody else is already doing it and they don't care if you do it or not, and that's who you're hanging around, what's going to happen?
Okay.
You're going to try it. No matter how bad it is. But if you got somebody there that says, hey, let's don't do that. Let's try something else. To turn your mind a little bit. Help you make that right choice. Could make all the difference in the world. One day I was sitting at my dining room table and I was having a bad day, guys. And I had decided that day I was going to find comfort one way or the other. Either I was going to find it, the Lord's going to give it to me, or I was going to find it my way. And we think of Jesus. When I say Jesus, what comes to your mind?
He died on the cross.
Died on the cross. Okay. Well, that's what I thought. Everybody likes to think of Jesus as this Savior that came down here, had a light shining on top of his head, had a little halo, and he walked through life. When Jesus died on that cross, do you realize how bad it was? How many of you got cross necklaces? Did you know that when Jesus died on the cross was one of the most detestable, nasty, wretched things in the world? When Jesus died on the cross, nature cried. The sun went black. It was between the hours of 12 noon and 3 p.m. The sun went black. And Jesus took on all of our sin, all of our pain as a man. Think about what I just said. He felt my pain, your pain, your pain, your pain, your pain, everybody's at one time as a man. All they had to do was say, I quit. That's all they had to do. All they had to do was say, I'm done. They're not working. That's all they had to say. But if you follow Jesus' life, guys, he found strength the same place we're supposed to find it. Same place. The same Heavenly Father that gave Jesus the strength will give you the strength. It's what gave me the strength. I seen my wife go 5 days not have time to take a shower. Washing my clothes, wiping my butt, feeding me, bathing me, on and on and on and on. All she had to do was say, I quit. But she made that choice. What I want you to see, through everything that I've been through, I've had over 110 major surgeries in a 2-year time frame. I was covered with skin 4 times. I seen the bones in my arms. I seen the tendons. I seen my rib cage, my breastplate. I seen it. Saw it. Excuse me. I'm from Mississippi. We talked. I saw it. I felt it. I reached down and pulled the meat off of my leg. Thought it was my Long John underwear that had melted to me. Man. It was bad. Many of you ever heard somebody about having flashbacks? Like being on Vietnam and stuff? How many of you has ever heard, that guy's crazy, he has more flashbacks? Hey, it's real. In your mind, it's real. Just like looking at these pictures. Your mind saw the whole picture when you should have been looking at one thing. And once you focused in on it, then that's all you could see was that one little thing. Your mind, my mind put me right back on that derrick. Right back on fire. Night after night after night after night. Getting back to Jesus, I want y'all to understand that Jesus made a choice. Nobody killed Jesus. Jesus laid his life down. I'm going to read to you out of John chapter 10, starting in verse 17. Therefore does my Father love me, because I lay down my life, that I may take it again? No man takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it up again. This commandment I have received of my Father. See, guys, Jesus chose to hang on that nasty, wretched cross for us. He had to find strength. Y'all heard the story of where Jesus prayed and his sweat became like drops of blood? Y'all read it? That's how intense he was praying. But who was he praying to? Y'all know? God. Who you pray to? Same God, right? You want strength. You want endurance. You want comfort. You want patience. You want peace. Same God that Jesus prayed to is who you pray to. That's who we pray to. My wife, myself, all my friends, churches. I got cards written in Chinese at my house. People praying for me all over the world when I got hurt. All over the world. You know how many people in the world have been burned as bad as me that has survived? Maybe 5. Me and maybe one other person can, or has function is what they call it, can do things. Most of us are shriveled up like this. They can't do nothing but sit in a wheelchair. How many burned people have y'all ever seen? Anybody else? You know why you don't see them? Take a guess. Because they're ashamed of what they look like. They're simply ashamed to come outside. It would be a lot easier for me to stay in my house, feed my horses, play with my chickens, let somebody else go and talk, and let somebody else go to Walmart, let somebody else go to Lowe's, let somebody else do all that. It'd be a lot easier on me. Because I wouldn't have to worry about what people look at. But if I don't make that choice every day to get up out of bed, make that choice every day to step out of my house, make that choice every day when I see a young person staring at me to get down on my knees and talk to them. What kind of example am I sending out? One to fight, one to pray for strength, one to find strength, or one to quit? Think about it. Think about, you're worried about what people look at you at school, or what they think about you, how you dress. And I'm just scared they're going to laugh at me. Or they're going to point and say, look at that guy. I get so sick of being that guy. Look at that guy. What happened to that guy? Did you see that guy? But I can't quit. They told me I would never walk. Told me my hands would never work. When I called and asked, I said, what kind of mic do y'all have? He said, oh, you won't need one. I said, well, I always ask because you know how churches are going to the mics you wear over your ear? I don't have ears. Yeah. They fell off. I can't change it. I have some fake ears at home. I don't like to wear them. I want to read you one more thing. And when I was talking about surrounding yourself with the right people, making the choices, John chapter 10, starting in verse 13, this, or actually in verse 12, this is talking about who you're going to follow and who loves you, who cares about you, who's sincere and who's not. I'm going to start in verse 11, I think. Jesus, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. But he who is the hireling, which is somebody that you own the company and you hire somebody to do the work, okay? That's the hireling. But he who is the hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. And the wolf catches them and scatters the sheep. The hireling flees because he is a hireling. Getting back to who you need to surround yourself with. You make the right choices to surround yourself with the right people. When things get bad, they won't run. They'll stick it out with you. My wife and my child is a prime example of that. Those doctors had seen people for 20 years and their wife had left them. Girlfriend left them. Husbands left them. Boyfriends left them. Just like Jesus made a choice for us, we have to make that choice for him. Jesus didn't say, because I died on the cross, I'm going to make you. Did he? That ain't what he said. You have a choice. The most important choice that you can make, number one, is to receive the gift from Jesus. That's the number one choice. Receive Jesus into your heart. That's the number one choice you can make. Just because you receive Jesus, that don't mean you're going to be perfect. Do you know anybody that's perfect? Sure don't. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things that's not right. You're going to want to quit. Get on back in Matthew, it says, talks about persecution. It says, one persecutes you in this city, move to the next one. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Just because I get laughed at Walmart, does that mean I'm not going to go back? Just because you stand up for Jesus today and somebody laughs at you, tomorrow, two of you may stand up. You start making the right choices, things start happening. I had to make a choice to exercise every day. I couldn't raise my toes up off the floor, guys. I couldn't do that. I'll make a choice to still do rehab. 6 years later, I still do rehab. And it hurts. I still do it. Because if I don't do it, in a year from now, I'll be in a wheelchair. I'll be sitting here like this. One of the most important things I want you to realize tonight, guys, you have a choice. If you don't know Jesus, you have a choice. But the time to make that choice is running out. That you don't have as much time as you did 10 minutes ago. You don't know when your number's going to come up. So if you don't know Jesus, now's the time to do it. Because tomorrow may be too late. 10 minutes from now may be too late, guys. If you're making bad choices, hanging around the wrong crowd, it could be too late. It could be too late tomorrow. The part that malfunctioned with me was a chain of bad choices. Bad manufacturing choices. Just because you make the right choice, don't get me wrong, everything's not going to be peachy. You're not going to be rich, you're not going to be pretty, you're not going to be free of pain. But you'll know the same God that Jesus knew. And you'll ask for strength from the same God Jesus asked for strength. I want to thank y'all for letting me come out here. I want to offer you a chance to, if you don't know Jesus, I want to offer you a chance to get to know Him. There's people here that will be more than happy to talk to you. You need the strength to get through school. You need the strength to get through the peer pressure and all that. Guys, now's the time to do it. see somebody that looks different, maybe you should talk to them, not laugh at them. See somebody that can't do what you can do, maybe you should help them. I have to ask for help. A lot. Much as I hate to, I have to. No shame in it. There's no shame in stepping up and saying, hey, I don't know Jesus, will you help me? No shame in it at all. I couldn't even go to the bathroom by myself. Asking somebody to wipe your butt's a whole lot easier than asking Jesus to come into your heart. Excuse me, a whole lot harder than asking Jesus to come into your heart. Think about it. Thank y'all. I hope that something I said may have made you think about something other than yourself. Hope something I said may have made you think a little deeper than just Jesus died on the cross and he rose again, will be. Maybe something I said gave you an idea and an insight of where you can find the same strength that Jesus found. Most of all, I hope that you see that that strength still works. He still works miracles. He can do it for you. He didn't just say, hey, all my grace and all my power is just for Billy Jack because he's going to get burnt. That ain't what he said. It's available. Y'all got any questions for me? Anything you want to know?
I just want to say you did an awesome job. That was awesome. And is this the first time that you've came somewhere to share your experiences and just talk? You do this?
Yeah, I do it. This is when I was laying in the hospital. I begged God to take me, and He said no. And I laughed. I said, God, you don't understand. I'm hurting. He said no. And He told me then that He would care. He didn't say, you got to go speak, you got to go talk to people. It's not what He said. But I believe that through what God has done for me, and me telling you what God's done for me, you can't dispute that because I'm standing here. See, everybody has a story. Everybody hurts. Everybody has a unique situation. And the reason God don't give you all the grace you need when you're born, you know, He could say, okay, you're born, here's everything you'll ever need, guys. You wouldn't need Him every day then, though, would you? Huh? You wouldn't have to talk to Him every day, would you? You wouldn't have to ask Him. So in other words, He wouldn't be personal to you, would He? And I think that's my job, try to make it personal. Make you think about something outside of that little box. And I love to do it. Like I said, I'm originally from Mississippi, and I had to move up here because I can't sweat. And all of my pores are gone. Feel that. Feel the difference? Feel. It's different. You know what Jesus said whenever He appeared to the disciples after He had rose from the grave? Y'all remember what He said?
Feel my hands.
Who said that? Feel. Feel. I don't have feeling. I don't know if you're touching me with a cold cup of ice water, or if you heated up a fork on the stove and stuck it to me. I don't know the difference. I leaned up against the stove and burnt my legs many times never knew it. I don't have anything. Anybody else got a question?
I want to say, okay, I'm gonna summarize this. It's okay when, I mean, were you spiritual, or did you believe in Jesus before this, before the accident, and when this was going on, when you were getting burned, what were you thinking, and could you feel it, or I mean, after the first thing you, or what did you do?
First of all, I was a Christian before I got hurt. I was the average, go to church on Sunday, go to church maybe on Wednesday, do whatever you want to do during the week. That's what I was. Did I feel it? Yes. When I was getting burned, there's people out there that tell you, good thing your nerve endings burn off quick, because man, I'd hate you to feel all that. Next time you're barbecuing, stick your hand about that far above the grate and have somebody close the lid and not open it for as long as you can stand it. Takes a long time for your nerve endings to burn off. My nerve endings now don't attach, and I get what's called the stings. You ever been stung by a red wasp or a hornet? Anybody? Imagine that all over your body at one time. That's what when I say I'm hurting, that's what I'm feeling. Because my nerve endings, your brain sends the signal to your nerve endings, and if it don't do what it's supposed to do, it sends a panic signal, which is a pain signal. Sometimes I get it and it may last 2 days, it may last 5 minutes. But when I was getting burned, I felt every bit of it. I was screaming. I actually jumped twice to try to kill myself. And both times I landed on my back on the derrick board, and I thought, man, I can't even die. My nylon harness just melted to it. Anybody else?
What went wrong?
A piece that is supposed to allow you to drill under pressure, it's a seal made out of about 4-inch thick rubber with a metal insert, and they're supposed to take that metal insert and sandblast it, coat it so it doesn't rust, and then coat it with glue, mold the rubber, bond the rubber to it. They did not sandblast it. They did not make sure the glue had a good bond, and it gave out at less than half of what it was supposed to hold. Like I said, it was just a chain of bad choices. They have known it since 1994, and I got burned in 2006. Anybody else?
I guess, can I ask your wife a question also?
Sure.
What, I guess, was the hardest thing for you going through this? I guess just like seeing your husband, knowing the choices you had to make.
Watching somebody you love hurt physically, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't cry about it. You can't talk about it. Because you can't let him see you cry. He doesn't touch you more than he's ever needed anybody. And you have to be strong. You have to function like a robot.
My wife never cried in my hospital. Never. She never cried in my hospital. I mean, that's tough. I see, when I talk to people about my wife, y'all have Christmas trees up here, just acres and acres. Now imagine the biggest, strongest, majestic oak tree sitting right in the middle of that Christmas tree farm. That's my wife. I mean, I cussed her, begged her to leave me. I was on dope, hospital. I accused her of having an affair. Everything. When I got home, she's the one that had to do my dressing changes. And I would lay there and scream for sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours. Scream. And she couldn't stop. She had to keep going. That strength that I'm talking about, guys, is the same strength comes from the same place. And it's available. That's what people don't get. It's available. It's free. And it still works. Still works. See how thick that scar right there is. Push. Push hard. Thick, ain't it? You feel it? Yeah. Please. Pretty thick, ain't it? This here. Y'all hear that? When I came home, my jawbone was exposed. All the way around. Had to scrape it every day. Anybody up? We passed our time limit. They gonna run me off.
Was anybody with you up there?
Nope. I was the only one that got hurt. Everybody up. 2 guys went to the hospital. One fell and busted his knee, and the other one jumped and hooked his arms on the ladder, on the stairs, on the handrail, and he slid down and it burned his underarms right here. My driller started climbing the ladder so fast that he burned his hands. The ladder went straight up, and they said he was taking 4 to 6 of those rungs straight up every step.
Why was he going up?
Because I was still on fire. When the well went out, he looked up, and I was still on fire. He grabbed the shirt. He started climbing that ladder. They say it looked like somebody picked him up from the collar, the back of his collar, and set him on top of that derrick board. 100 foot straight up, and he was climbing at 4 to 6 foot per step. And when he got to me, he was a guy, he was an LSU fan, he liked to drink, he liked to party. When he got to me, he said, "Let's pray." I knew I was in bad shape, guys. How many of you ever heard your life flashing before your eyes before you die? How many of you ever heard that? It's not true. There's 2 people that I thought about. When I got in the ambulance, I told that nurse, "I need you to call my wife. Here's her phone number. Here's what you tell her. Here's what you tell my little girl. Call my mom. Call my dad." I was still awake. I told the paramedic when to trach me, and he wouldn't do it. Last thing I remember, they said, "We're pulling in Nacogdoches General Hospital right now." And I was out. They say I was out. I mean, my body was swelling up, and it was cutting off my air. And how many of you think you turn black when you get burnt? I want y'all to notice something. Next time your mom or dad or you or whoever is cooking chicken, When you lay that piece of raw chicken in the plate, in the skillet, what color does it turn? Huh?
White.
And then after a while, what color does it turn? Same way. My skin was the prettiest white you've ever seen in your life. I was in the middle of the fire. Y'all ever seen a cigarette lighter struck and it's blue and then it turns orange? Okay, I was right in that transition. It was the prettiest thing I've ever seen. I know that's ironic, you know, you're saying it's beautiful, but it was killing me at the same time. But, man, it was gorgeous. Anybody else?
Why are your hands look a different shape?
They grew some of my skin. Took a little piece off my belly, sent it to Boston, and grew it. Called cultured skin. See how this is different under my eyes? See? Different color? See it? That comes from the top of my head. A lot of this skin, see, like this little part right here didn't get burnt. See, feel it? See the hair? A lot of this they took from my ankles and a little strip on my belly. Just shaved it off, stretched it out a little bit, and laid it on me. And a lot of this, the pinkish color, that's the cultured skin. It just doesn't do as good as your skin. The first time I was covered with skin, I was covered with a pig skin. My whole body was covered with pig skin. Then they had to cut it off and lay the skin that they had grown in a laboratory. My fingers, they said they were going to cut them off one day. My wife wouldn't let them. I lost one. They don't look very good, but they work. They're shorter. The little tips of them got burned off. Anybody else? Somebody from that couch asked me a question.
That's good. Did your hair burn off?
Yeah, this is a wig. No, I'm joking. This is mine. They actually scalped me 11 times, 9 times. Took a perfect circle off the top of my head. They said I'd never have hair again. I got it cut yesterday. I mean, it's just amazing. Anybody else? One more.
Why would they take like the
Skin to put on different places that didn't. Different parts of your body requires different kind of skin. Some of it be cultured skin, like on my arms and whatnot. Some of this under here had to be more tender. You know, some parts of your body are tougher than others.
Color.
And color. They try to make you look as human as possible, but there's only so much they can do. I've had my jaws cut 4 times, just cut out like this. Tell y'all one more thing, then I'm going to turn it back over to you. Going through the fire, staying awake through all the burns, going through all the dressing changes was nothing. One day I woke up from surgery and my eyes wouldn't open. Everybody in here, I'm gonna stand here. I want everybody to focus on me. Now close your eyes. Close them. You can still see me, can't you? Open them. Close them again. You can still see me, can't you? Open them up. When my eyes wouldn't open, I understood how Paul felt when he got blinded on the road to Damascus. I understood what it means whenever it says you're walking in darkness. I couldn't talk. I couldn't see, and I couldn't move. I was completely helpless. When they sewed my eyes shut, and that doctor come in after a week and he said, "Mr. McDaniel, we got a choice to make. We can cut your eyes open today, and in a week sew them back shut for another week, or we can leave them sewn shut for 3 days. 3 more days, and you never have to have it done again." As scared as I was, I had to make that choice. What do you think I chose? 3 days. Leave it sewn shut 3 more days, and I'm done.
Why didn't you just sew shut?
Because
You were contracted.
like these scars, whenever they see that one, it gets hard, and it would have just done my eyes like that, and I wouldn't have been able to close them. I wouldn't have been able to sleep. My eyes would have dried out all the time. I mean, it's a medical miracle. It's a miracle, whatever you want to call it. It's just, thank y'all, Joe.